Hello there, I'm Laura Ossie. I'm the pastor and mission developer at River of Hope Lutheran Church. We are in Hutchinson, Minnesota. And I'm coming to you here to do a little dip your toes in the Word, to read the scripture that we're going to be diving into on Sunday. And it's from Exodus 14, verses 5 to 7, 10 to 14, and 21 to 29. It's always interesting to go and read what's been omitted. But I'm just going to read this passage here now and invite you into listening along and then reading it on your own this week each day just to see how it might change for you in each reading. It's one of the biggies. It's like, it's what the book of Exodus is named after, this story right here. So when the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, the minds of Pharaoh and his officials were changed toward the people, and they said, "What have we done, letting Israel leave our service?" So he had his chariot made ready and took his army with him. He took 600 picked chariots and all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them. As Pharaoh drew near, the Israelites looked back, and there were the Egyptians advancing on them. In great fear, the Israelites cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you've taken us away to die in the wilderness? What have you done to us, bringing us out of Egypt? Is this not the very thing we told you in Egypt? Let us alone and let us serve the Egyptians? For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness." But Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and see the deliverance that the Lord will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to keep still." Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. The Lord drove the sea back by a strong east wind all night, and turned the sea into dry land, and the waters were divided. The Israelites went into the sea on dry ground, the waters forming a wall for them on their right hand and on their left. The Egyptians pursued and went into the sea after them, all of Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and chariot drivers. At the morning watch, the Lord in the pillar of fire and cloud looked down upon the Egyptian army and threw the Egyptian army into panic. He clogged their chariot wheels so that they turned with difficulty. The Egyptians said, "Let us flee from the Israelites, for the Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the water may come back upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots and chariot drivers." So Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at dawn the sea returned to its normal depth. As the Egyptians fled before it, the Lord tossed the Egyptians into the sea. The waters returned and covered the chariots and the chariot drivers, the entire army of Pharaoh that had followed them into the sea. Not one of them remained. But the Israelites walked on dry ground through the sea, the waters forming a wall for them on their right and on their left. It's the epic story of the Exodus, of escaping through a sea as the waters are parted. So, yeah, ask yourself, what does the story say about God? What does the story say to you about how you handle worry and fear and panic, even in your own life, and how God is with you in any and all of that? Find your spot in this story this week and see what it has to teach you. See how it might come alive in your life. And we'll dive into it together on Sunday. All right. Peace is with you. God is with you.